I pay a lot of money to a lot of really well-educated people to come in and find cost reductions for me. Flat is not good enough.
The CEO showed him later that they actually were videotaping that room to see if they could catch them saying anything bad in general, but about them.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Account Management, a tactical guide to success. You got Fred Fuller here, and on the other side of the table, I have my wonderful compadre and counterpart, the Hooded Falcon, John Brown. John, how are you, sir?
I'm good. It is so great to be talking to you, Fred, the incomplete texter Fuller.
You will not have a problem garnering enough support for your position on my poor texting capabilities.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a friend that texts you and their text is literally yo? What do you do with that? Like, is that communication? We talk a lot about communication in this podcast. Is that communication? It is not communication.
I think it is. And I think the only proper response is yo back.
Yo back.
Yo.
Or sup.
Sup. Sup. Yeah, sup. Give me what a big sup.
That would be the reply. Yeah. So anyway, I am more of a mind of texting is you must say what you want in the first sentence. I'm like that person. That's a weirdo, right?
Well, no, you probably are the norm. Like, I have received multiple points of feedback that my texting style
so it's not just me. Yeah.
Is rubbish. Like, people literally have gone to my wife and been like, hey, your husband is communication. And she's in PR. Like, communication is her thing.
Communication is everything.
Here, we talk about communication.
All the time. And what are you doing, I guess, is the question.
I'm taking it up a notch.
You're taking it to the next level.
Have you ever heard the thing? I would have written you a shorter letter if I had more time.
Yes.
So I think yo is the most efficient text I could ever possibly give you.
It's a quote from Mark Twain, to be specific.
And have you ever texted with him?
I did, but he was saved as Samuel Clemens on my phone, and so it was very confusing. Yes. That was good, wasn't it?
No, it was really good.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Right.
You know what I learned on the way in? I learned that if it keeps on raining, the levee is going to break.
You know, Atlanta, I think, might be about to wash away.
You think so?
It's nonstop rain.
All last night, sat on the levee.
Oh, all right.
Are you not picking this up, man?
Do you want to? No, actually, I'm kind of lost.
Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah. I knew the song, but I don't know the lyrics off the top of my head.
I need you to do better.
It should have gone a little more popular, like "Stairway to Heaven."
Should we? No, I know. You got to know something. Like, when the levee breaks is not like a B-side.
No, I know, but I'm dry. I got nothing.
Okay. All right. You ready to do this one?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's talk about account management.
So today we're going to talk about account management, but we're going to talk about the top 10 mistakes that account managers make.
Top 10.
That's
right.
Okay? Mm-hmm. All right. And I believe that you've got you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I think we're going to talk about it. You want me to name them off and then we'll talk about each one? Well, let's talk about why we went down this road. I think it's because you and I both have been managing teams for a while and we kind of see some same things over and over. And I recently had an experience what it kind of reminded me of, like, don't do that, please. And so it's just kind of, we see this over and over. And so this is like a lot of things we've already talked about in the book and the podcast, and we're just kind of refashioning it a little bit more, less of encouraging you to do something, instead saying, don't do this. Yeah.
And these are things that are not, they're not massive undertakings. It's not like you got to go study. These are pretty quick,
little things,
lightweight little things that you can do that make your job that much easier.
Yeah,
right.
And make you more professional,
more professional, more successful. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Better account manager.
So why don't we jump into the first one then? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me read them off, and then we'll start on the first one. So the first one is thinking someone else is the quarterback. The second one is saying I think. Third is not bringing recommendations. Fourth, being willing to be a pincushion. The fifth is complaining about the client in the open. We've talked about that a lot. Sixth is assuming not hearing from clients means everything is good.
Wrong.
Seventh is referring to your internal team as them. 8 is waiting until renewal to sell the value prop. 9th is no account plans. And 10th is not answering the question directly. So we'll talk about each one of those.
And so would you say that these are ranked?
No, they're kind of random.
Just kind of random, like these are things that we see people do. So we'll jump in.
I think neither of us could decide like which one is more important than the other. Like,
Yeah, no, I know we talked about it, right?
Yeah.
But it's it almost depends on the moment as to which one is the bigger kind of infraction, right? So if we jump back to the top of the list, thinking someone else is the quarterback.
Yeah, you and I talked about this a lot, right? And so, in the world of account management, particularly if you're trying to get your internal team to do something, let's say you have to get your product or engineering team or the accounting team or somebody to do something with the client. If you don't kind of project manage it, particularly if it's new or unusual or anything like that, like because it's client related, it is probably you that should drive the project management of it.
Yeah.
So thinking someone else is the quarterback is a mistake, particularly if it's new or unusual in any kind of way and client related.
And this is most critical when you have a kind of an urgent matter, right? So if you think about a production issue,
right,
like thinking that you were notified of a production issue, it sits with the prod support team.
But they're supposed to take it from there,
right?
Maybe not,
right?
Yeah,
like get engaged.
Don't assume.
And so what do you get engaged? You get engaged. Status. You work
communicate
internally
to the client,
That's
right? You work internally to find out the answers to questions. You deliver those answers to clients. You project manage. Like if somebody needs to do something, that they need to do it. You need to let them know, right? You need to make sure they do it on time. Like you need to kind of take on a little bit of that ownership.
There's an element here of
leadership, really.
It's leadership, right? It's just because you might not be the one turning the wrenches doesn't mean you don't need to own the outcome.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a bunch of them, so let's keep going.
All right, well, let's keep going then. So I think I had to do, yeah. Is that right?
That was good.
So let me tell you where this is bad. You tell me if I got it right, John. The reports are coming out tomorrow, and the data looks really good, I think.
Yeah. The one that's related to account management that I hear more often. So first of all, I have to go with, there's a famous movie from the 90s where one of the protagonists, somebody says to him, well, I think this person is here or here. And the other person says, I don't want to think, I want to know, which I think is a great line. I just said, I think in there. I don't know. That was weird. Anyway, but more, when an executive asks you as an account manager a question about a client, like, hey, what's going on at the client? How are they responding to the feature release, the price increase, the new product, whatever. Well, I think what they think is blah, blah, blah. Look, I don't want to think. I want to know what they think. Like, why don't you go get on the phone and call them? You can say, I'm pretty certain they feel this way about it, but let me go work on making sure that that's exactly it. I'm going to give them a call today.
Or even better, we have a call scheduled at 2:00 to discuss this very thing. So I'll confirm that for you.
So I'll find out. Right? Yeah. It's on my list now. I'm going to go find out. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a proactive plan to answer beyond, I think, if that's all you have in the moment. Right?
I don't want to think, right? As an executive. Right?
And it's interesting because it really kind of organically feeds into the next one, which is not bringing recommendations along with problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
How this manifests itself as an account manager, you forward an email to an executive with a long chain of threaded replies going back and forth with the client about a problem, and you think they're going to get what you're talking about. Hey, what do you think we ought to do about this? Okay. Look, man, I'm really busy. And not even an executive, just anybody else, really. Like somebody who doesn't have context on the client, doesn't know all the details about the product, maybe. Not familiar with the situation, like doesn't have all that context, and you just forward that email and you say, what should we do about this? Oh, okay. Now, let's back up. Like, what do you want to do about it? Like, I will go along with you, even if I'm a leader, right? Like, but I need to know what you think.
It's interesting. I had somebody that said to me years and years ago, I've told this story before, I'm confident, but we were doing the budget and it was a cost budget and we were holding the cost flat. And I'd gotten a first run. The numbers were very preliminary. The CFO stopped me in the hallway and said, "How's the budget look?" I said, "Looks pretty good right now. I mean, we're holding it flat year over year." And he had a fit. He was like, "Flat? Like, I pay a lot of money to a lot of really well-educated people to come in and find cost reductions for me. Flat is not good enough." There's this element in that of owning the problem, right? And it's the same thing here, right? To come in and say, "We've got a problem. What do you want to do about?" Like, no, own the problem. And what I love about this one is it extends so far beyond account management.
Well, it's not an account management thing. Yeah.
Not at all, right?
Not at all.
I actually know somebody that's looking for a job right now, interviewing well down the road of the process, like, on the, getting close to the end zone. And there's a few kind of challenges that have been thrown up. And this individual took every one of those challenges and created about 4 different solutions for the challenge, and then went back to them and said, "Hey, I know that we have these 4 challenges. Let me show you how we can solve them." Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And so whether they pick any of those solutions or not is completely irrelevant. What he did was went in there and said, as somebody that would work for you, this is who I am. I will own these problems. I will solve problems for you. I will create solutions. Like, think that didn't galvanize him as the person that's going to get that job. Right.
Yeah. I mean, where this comes from is, for a lot of earlier stage account managers, they think the executives around them know more than they do, and they can just toss a ball in the air, and an executive or some other kind of leader, their VP, whoever's going to know how to hit it, right?
Yeah.
And that might be true if maybe the executive is super familiar with the client, understands the situation, but what if they're brand new? What if they're not in your functional area? Like, you need to tell them, like, okay, to use my earlier example, hey, we got this angry email from a client. Here's what I want to do about it, and then I'll explain the situation.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Suggest some next steps.
Yep.
So they're concrete. Like, hey, Mr. Executive, I'm going to go do these things, and then after that, I want you to call them. And then, you know what I mean? And by the way, here's how this all came about. Yeah.
And in the spirit of collaboration in that scenario, like, it's fine to say I'm open to other opinions or avenues if they exist. If there's better, idea, 100%, right? But you can't come in flat-footed waiting for others to initiate that conversation.
Right, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So this next one is one that I actually enjoy. It is, when we talk about it, there's going to be a nobody will want to do this part of the job kind of piece for me. And I actually feel like can be like oddly the most rewarding part of the job. And so this, the idea being that not being willing to be a pincushion, right?
You might want to explain what a pincushion is, because I don't think anybody has those anymore.
Oh my God. 800 years ago. They often look like tomatoes.
Tomato. Is the go-to.
And it's a place where you kept sewing needles or whatever pins that you used for tailoring.
And you push the pin in there to keep it safe and handy.
And so that is a pin cushion.
Right.
With the idea of the pin cushion being the one that absorbs all the blows, right? All the pokes, all the needles, etc.
Right.
So talk a little bit, John, about this kind of idea of being a pin cushion.
Yeah,
and what
nobody
that
likes to be a pin cushion. I mean, who really wants that in their day-to-day? Nobody does. But if you're an account manager and your client is kind of really giving you a hard time, we've talked about this dozens of times. It is part of the role. You need to sort of, and now, I mean, if they get abusive or say something inappropriate, that's a whole nother discussion topic. But like the sort of normal vagaries of clients being irritated and all that, it's your job to absorb some of that emotional energy if you're a account manager. That's probably the right way to say it. It's like, really, if we wanted to be more professional, we'd say not pincushion, we'd say you're absorbing their emotional energy.
Yeah, and it ties into one of the other ones, which is referring to your internal team as them. So as the pincushion, your job is to absorb those moments of tension from the client so that your team can go about doing their business.
Right.
If you ever utter the words, well, they messed that up.
Yeah.
Like, wrong
Yeah,
answer.
so let's talk about that one now, because the two are paired up together.
Right.
See, now that we should have ordered it that way.
Well, I just did here.
Is that your?
We're doing it right now.
Is that your fault, or? That's not a part right now.
We definitely got to go to blame storming immediately.
See, now that's a portmanteau.
That is
right
a portmanteau. That's from
you
the
just
last
did that.
episode.
Yeah, you just did that.
Not a portmanteau.
No, not a portmanteau. So yeah, so
Close.
That's a good callback. Yeah, so the two very related ideas. So, and I've seen this. I've seen it recently. We are. I actually heard someone say recently, "Hey, we're waiting on. They're going to let me know what the path forward is." Talking about the IT team, they.
Yeah.
There's no they in your company, right? Like, because your client doesn't understand that there's other groups and they probably do have some power and can make their own decisions, but referring to them as they, and I'm just being that simple about it, right? Like, just don't call them they. Like, that's it. Like, you can say, I'm working with IT. We're pushing it through the system. We're they have people on it. We're collaborating. You can say a million other things, but they're not they.
Yeah, you got to own it. You are a single entity facing that client.
Yeah.
And it's the other thing that happens in this sort of pincushion conversation is early on in your sort of account management career, that this can be a little bit of a struggle because they take it very personally. Right?
Yeah.
So what is the key to being a good pincushion?
Well, in my mind. It's really kind of the balcony technique. Like, what would you do? And you pretend like you're on a balcony overlooking the little scene that's playing out. Yep. What would you do and say to that person to help them get through it, right? Like, the balcony technique is kind of how I think about it. Like, if someone starts really giving me a hard time, I tend to sort of just, okay, I'll just wait for you to be done, or I'll actually solicit their input more. Okay, I'll lean in. Hey, tell me more.
Yeah.
Right. And,
yeah.
We talked about this in improv, right? Just start listening even more actively.
And if they're upset at the organization.
Yes, that's
not
correct.
Not at you as an individual.
Right. They probably like you.
You need to compartmentalize in this role.
Compartmentalize. That's exactly right.
So I think that's I love the whole them and the pin. Those things go very strongly together, right? Mm-hmm. So moving to the next one, and I love this one. This one is one that everybody violates. Once you help them understand the challenge with what they're doing with this, they will stop doing it. But talking bad about the client or complaining about the client in open.
Yeah. In the open.
Yeah.
The fail answer is to, and I have seen this, do it at the client's site.
Oh, so in the elevator after the meeting.
Yeah. So here's a little story. So I know this consultant. I was a consultant briefly, and I know this guy who's at the same consulting company, and he told me one time that they put all the consultants in one little room and had them do their work in there, and and they were doing their work, and it's all good, and then the CEO showed him later that they actually were videotaping that room to see if they could catch them saying anything bad in general, but about them specifically, right? Like, pretend like, don't do it in the hallway after the meeting. Don't do it in the elevator. Don't do it outside the front door. Don't do it on the cab ride to the airport. Don't even do it at the airport. As a matter of fact, don't even do it back in your office, right? Like, just be factual and say, hey, we had a problem with the client. Here it is. Here's what I want to do to solve it. Like, it's a problem with a client, right? Like, don't complain. Yeah.
Don't put it in writing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually know of somebody very recently that when in the world of consulting, oftentimes you'll have to work on your client's laptop, right? They give you the laptops, all this kind of stuff, right? And an individual went in talking to somebody else on an internal system, said the client's a real moron or whatever they said. Mm-hmm. That thing was scooped up within 30 minutes by some tracking apparatus. Dude got fired. Like, don't do it.
Yeah. I had a person that worked for me, client called him on the phone, giving the person a hard time. This was like more of a project manager. She hangs up, starts complaining about the client to the person next to her. She hadn't hung up.
Didn't hang up. Yeah. Yeah.
And guess who heard it, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I had to go deal with that, right? Like, don't do it.
So there's a little analogy.
Pretend like your mom's listening at all times.
Yeah. Well, there's a little analogy that we have with this one, right? Which is
Yes. What is the analogy? You use this analogy. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's I liken complaining about the client to smoking a cigarette. You go outside, you smoke a cigarette. Nobody went out there with you. Nobody looked out the window and saw you. But when you walk back in, everybody knows what you did. Talking about your client is the same thing. I have had many companies I've worked for. I saw there was one company I worked for, and they were lighting up this client in Slack internally. And I went to the big boss, and I said, you guys need to stop this immediately. And he was kind of like, what's the big deal? And I explained it to him. Like, you know, you're carrying a carcinogen around with you, and they know it. And after talking to him for a few minutes, he actually went into the internal chat tool and said, knock it off. And the attitude about the client changed, because the other part of this is not just that the client can feel it, but it just festers. When you sit with somebody and complain about something, and then the other person, oh yeah, and you know what else they did? Oh yeah, and that thing. And then you're just taking it to this fevered pitch for nothing.
Right.
You're not going to take action on it.
Nobody's a winner.
Yeah. So don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah. What's the next one?
All right. Assuming not hearing from clients means everything's good. Hey, if I don't hear from you, you're happy, right?
Yeah. We talked about this a million times too, but like I worry more about the clients we don't hear from than the ones that are complaining. And there's a bunch of good reasons why. It's because your competitor is in their ear whispering.
Yeah.
Sweet nothings.
Think about it.
Like a cookie didn't have a response.
It's weird when you bring Valentine's Day into the conversation.
It was just Valentine's Day, so that's what actually made me think of it.
It made me really nervous. Yeah. I think when you don't hear from the client, you should be nervous. Right?
Yeah.
Unless they tell you, hey, man, I've got this other thing I'm going to turn my attention to. You're not going to hear much from me for the next 3 weeks. Like, okay, cool. But if they just go abnormally silent on you, be alert.
Yeah. We've said a bunch of times podcasts, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Yeah. And like, if they're indifferent to you, you've got a problem.
You need to sniff around.
Yeah. If they have some strong feelings, then, I'd rather them be happy than mad, but.
And there's a whole list of ways you can go about kind of trying to get that information, leveraging the broader team, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, here's another one. And this one is funny when you say it, but it's also one of those things that you're like, it happens all the time, which is waiting until renewal to sell the value prop.
Yeah, that's right. So in our episode a long time ago where we talked about quarterly business reviews, we talk about this a lot. The quarterly business review isn't like it's a misnomer. The real point of it is for you to resell your value prop, right? Whatever that is, right? And and this is, we'll talk about the curse of knowledge a little bit more in a minute, but like this is where you get in your own way of not reminding them of the basics of why they chose you in the first place, right?
Yep.
So have a portion of the big, beautiful slide deck that is kind of like a little bit geared towards, here's why using us is great. And, and here's how that is a benefit to you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, right? And so if you wait until the end, you will be surprised how little your client actually knows. They're busy too in their day-to-day, and they're not thinking about you all the time. And so like the basics of your product, they probably don't remember, you know what I mean? And why it's better than everybody else's. Yeah.
Well, and leverage every opportunity. So a lot of times you're going in for a QBR and you talk about the value prop, and in the planning process, what will happen is somebody will say, well, we just released that new V2 feature, and it didn't go well. And so now is not a good time to sell the value prop. We should probably pull back on that.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Or actually, what I thought you were going to say is, somebody gloms on and says, we need to get this new thing in front of the client. And so you're going to burn an hour at the beginning talking about that. And there's a million questions. And then you don't leave any time for yourself to resell the value prop.
Right.
Yeah.
So timing is everything,
Yeah.
right? How you do it, be elegant. Don't be,
Yeah.
Read the room. But
it's somebody else's agenda that actually kind of blows you up on this one.
Yeah, that's right.
Because everybody, there's a million things always crowding in for clients' attention. If you get time in front of them, everybody has like a laundry list of stuff they want to get in front of the client. And you have to kind of hold firm to, I get the first 15 minutes of this to do my thing.
Yeah, that's right. Again, we could probably do several episodes on like presenting.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've done quite a few, but we could do some more.
Yeah, we should do some more of that. So the value prop, and again, that should be, it's not just QBRs. Like you should be talking about the value prop on a pretty consistent basis, not big slideshows and things of that nature, but
you can just slip it into conversation. Hey, Mr. Client, the reason why that's great is it helps you do this. Like just remind them, even though like you feel like it should be obvious because you're immersed in it all day long. Remember, they're not immersed in it all day long.
Right.
Like you are.
Exactly. And when you think about selling the value prop and QBRs, those things are very tangential to having a good account plan.
That's right. Well, that's number 9. We're down to number 9 on the list.
Yeah.
This might be our shortest episode ever.
It might
really
be.
nice.
You rushed me. I think you got to get home for dinner. I don't know. You looking?
I'm peaked.
See, is it peaked? Is it peckish?
Peckish is another. You could say that.
Okay. Okay. But I just worry you're going to correct me.
Well, no. I just enjoy the big words.
Are we going too fast?
No, I think we're fine. I apologize for all the big words. Henceforth, I will issue obfuscation. All right.
You're going to issue something?
No, let's keep going.
All
okay,
right.
so number 9 is not having an account plan.
Yeah.
What's wrong with not having an account plan, Fred?
You don't have a map to the treasure. Right? That's the way I think about account plans. I literally think about account plans as the little dotted line that takes you to the X.
And you want to X.
But I think that's what it is, right? If you think about it in that context, it oversimplifies it, but it's the map to doing more with your client, right?
Do you know where treasure is buried a lot of times? On a beach.
Sandlot.
Like in a sandlot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that you're not, you don't have an account plan. If you have an account plan, you'll always be iterating to get the next thing on there, which is like, hey, knowing more people at the client, who's in red status, who's not. Like, if you don't, it'll force you to like actually just putting it on paper, even if it's just a simple one pager. There's an example one in our book, I think. It will just force you to start collecting more information because you'll remember it. And you could put it in your CRM. You can have the account plan in your CRM. I've done that before. I actually think there's some value in having it kind of like a one pager for it, though, that you can kind of take a quick glance and. But there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. But don't not have them is the point we're making.
Yeah, you have to have them, and I think the account plans. So this is just now we're going to talk about a little Fred personal philosophy. Mm-hmm. But I don't. In our house, we don't do like New Year's resolutions. We actually do vision boards every year.
Get out. Are you serious?
No, I'm dead serious, man. And the idea behind the vision board is just this thing that you look at and it constantly reminds you of what you decided that you wanted to focus on this year.
Wow,
right?
That's kind of cool.
And I think that this account plan is the very same thing. It's the exact same thing. You get up and you look at it. And you look at it every Monday, every Friday, whatever you do. And these are the 7 things we're trying to accomplish in the near term. And it refocuses you and aligns you on those things. So yeah, we do vision boards, man. For real.
I'm a big goal setter.
Yeah,
and like I think it's basically the same thing. But if you don't do this, then your day is driven by just the wind of clients contacting you wanting X, Y, and Z. Whereas if you don't bake in, I'm going to start the day with like executing some, just kind of working on a strategy I have going at a client. Like then you're lost, right? You don't feel like you got anything done,
right? Yeah, and it's your job to help inform their thinking, right? It comes back to Henry Ford and faster horses and all that stuff. Like if you just respond to the client, you may or may not be doing things that are in the long-term interest of the relationship, right? Let alone your organization. So I think account plans to me are a no-brainer. Like, you have to have them if you're going to be successful in this role. And then this takes us to number 10.
Yes.
The last on the list, which is not answering the question directly. And this aligns with the curse of knowledge.
Yes, indeed. So this is the classic you're in a meeting, client asks you, hey, how does this work? And I see this all the time. People start answering the question in particularly an executive at a client, where they start talking about everything they know about the topic at hand, instead of kind of starting with the pyramid principle, starting with kind of the highest level thought and working their way down from there. Which the highest level thought is a lot of times yes or no answering the question, right? Like
right.
That's what we say, answer the question directly. So, hey, are we going to be able to get into the contract an SLA of 3-day delivery? Let's say you're negotiating something. And then you come back with, well, the thing about our SLAs is, and then you start explaining how all your SLAs work. Okay, I'm going to be like, can we start over? Can you just like give me I'm not going to hold you to it exactly, but just give me a head fake for like, you can say yes and.
Yeah, right.
Yes, and yes, we can do that, and it will come with these extra terms, or it'll change this. You know what I mean? Like, answer the question is the point.
Answer the question. I also think, along with this curse of knowledge, I'll give you, this is real time for me, and I'll give you a good example. And I'm the guilty party, right? Mm-hmm. I know of an organization that's looking to build an app. And I looked at the app and I'm like, okay. And I talked to a few people kind of in the digital space. What do you think this would look like? $1 million. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, $1 million. There's another person who's like, I thought you could have an app built for like $20,000, $40,000. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, if you want it to do what I think you want it to do, you're talking about building a piece of software that's going to cost you $1 million. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, I was like, what the heck do I know? Like, I heard something and I'm stuck on it. And the truth is, there probably are a million different routes to take. Like, and so
somebody anchored you.
I don't have a lot of flexibility in my thing. Somebody totally anchored me, right? And I acknowledge that. Like, I acknowledge, like, man, I'm not hearing others right now. I need to stop and open up on that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But we all do it, and I think being able to recognize when you're doing it is critical.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's super common, particularly for account managers, largely because particularly because if you know a ton about the product, like you will get down in the weeds because you will be focused on the bad thing that happened to that one client that one time. And that's what you're going to wind up talking about because you're going to try to play defense around that. Whereas instead you should be saying, working on the kind of 98% of the time this happens, right? And here's how it works and it's great. You know what I mean? And so don't get dragged down into, you maybe just walked out of another client meeting where that exact thing created a problem, right? But don't get dragged into that as the answer to the question.
Yeah. Man, this is a kind of a shorter thing. Yeah. 10, any kind of closing thoughts on this, mistakes that account managers make?
Want to keep going? We could probably do 20. No, I think
10 is enough for the audience to think about.
Plenty.
10 makes my head hurt. 10
There's probably some podcasting rule somewhere of don't list 10 things in a podcast. That's probably like a rule.
Yeah. That's rule number 2.
On a list of
rule
10.
number 1 is turn your microphone on. So, no, well, look, I think what I would say about this particular list and this particular topic, if you are doing this job properly, you're going to make mistakes. Because to do this job properly, you have to be kind of assertive, right? You got to take chances.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You have to learn by failing.
Right.
Yeah, no question. So anyway, these are some things to avoid. But every account manager will make I've made. We should probably have started by saying, I don't know about you, but I have made all these mistakes. So no perfect people here. Right?
I've made all these mistakes today. Before we came into this room, really? I made 4 of them in the parking lot. Wow, yeah. It's pretty crazy. So Here we are, though. What are the top mistakes account managers make? Wrapping it up, thinking someone else is the quarterback, saying I think, not knowing, not bringing recommendations along with problems, not being willing to be a pincushion, referring to your internal team as them, complaining about the client in the open, assuming not hearing from clients means everything is good, waiting until renewal to sell the value prop, no account plans, and not answering the questions directly. These are mistakes that are commonly made that you can avoid just by thinking about them and focusing on them. For John Brown, I am Fred Fuller, and thanks for listening to another episode of Account Management, a Tactical Guide to Success.
Learn more about the art and science of account management. Pick up A Dragon Walks Into a Meeting, a tactical guide to client management. Digital and print editions available at Amazon or your favorite bookseller. Fred and John would like to hear from you. Leave a comment for us on YouTube and head over to fuller-brown.com for more great content.